Hi, everyone. My name is Liz. I'm so excited to be back here with all of you. I'm one of the co-founders of the Derosa group. I'm also one of the co-founders of the Real Estate InvestHer show and community. We just published a book called The Only Woman in the Room. There's a lot of exciting things we're doing over on the Real Estate InvestHer side. I'm also very proud of all the things we're up to in the Derosa group. So I'm here. I'm going to be doing more and more videos here on our YouTube page, and I'm going to be talking about various topics that I'm passionate about and that I have knowledge about. And today's video is going to be about everyone knows people with money. And I'm here to remind you of that very important tip and teach you a few things to get you really your wheels turning about raising private money. I know Matt is the expert in this space, and I know he does a lot of videos on this. I thought of it this morning. I'm presenting on something later in the week, and I said, you know what? This is a really good video for our subscribers and the folks that follow us on YouTube to just get reminded of that. Everyone really knows people with money. And sometimes we don't think that, but we really do. And where do you find that, and how do you position yourself? So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm actually going to share my screen. I put a few slides together for all of you. Okay. So again, excited to be back here with you. You'll be seeing a lot more videos from me on our YouTube channel. And if any of this speaks to you, the men, the women, obviously our mission on the Real Estate InvestHer side is to empower women to live a financially free and balanced life. So if any of this sounds interesting, you're watching it on our YouTube channel here, you could check us out over on the Real Estate InvestHer side as well. It's the Real Estate InvestHer, HER.com. Okay, so everyone knows people with money, and I do believe that wholeheartedly. Yes, you who's watching this and listening to this, know people with money. Number one tip, before you can think about the people to potentially work with as a private money lender or equity partner, you need to know the type of money that is out there. And I'm just going to remind you of a few things on that, okay? Number one, really basic stuff, but really important stuff, especially for people who are newer to raising private money. There's two real key types of private money. Number one is private equity, and the other one is private lending. So equity, the simplest way that I explain equity to you is somebody has ownership along with you. They may have 10% ownership. You may have 90%. You might have 50-50 ownership. It could be 70-30. It really doesn't matter in terms of the split. But they have equity. They have a partnership with you, in essence, in that real estate project, in that LLC or whatever entity you own that property with. They have ownership along with you. So what does that mean? That means you win together. That means you lose together. They're not necessarily lending you money and then they want their money back. That's not how this has worked. There's an operating agreement. The business entity gets formed. There's an operating agreement that you really need to have an attorney review and help you put together. And it's laid out there what your role is, what their role is. Are they a limited partner? Are they an active partner? Are they a passive partner? All that is laid out in a really good, effective operating agreement. So my point in sharing this with you is equity is all about ownership. Okay, so they have $100,000 and they put that $100,000 in that LLC that owns property A. Okay, they didn't lend that money to you. They actually own it with you. They own that property along with you, according to how you spell it out in the operating agreement. So that's number one, equity. And that strategy could be used on large deals. Our first private equity partner was we had bought 2 single-family home row homes along with him. He put in $50,000. We were both active. We had different roles, but that was our first private equity partner. He put $50,000 into the project, and we put zero money into the project, but we did other really important things. And we had roles and responsibilities and laid that out in the operating agreement. And we own that LLC together. He didn't lend us that money. The second way, though, that's listed here is private lending. And that's more of like the classic approach. If somebody has $100,000, they lend it to you for an agreed upon interest rate, as well as a certain term, an agreed upon time of that lending happening, whether it's 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years, whatever. But there's a certain amount of time that's established, certain amount of money that's obviously being lended, and obviously the terms, the interest rate, et cetera. Again, that's all in writing. That's all put in writing so that the lender's protected, you're protected. Same with equity. So I just want to get that in your consciousness. One's more like a lending. They have no ownership. They're literally just lending money. They're getting the money back plus their interest rate. Equity is something very different. Now, they very well, you can write it in the agreement with equity. They're going to, how this works and the time frame, all that. But again, that's laid out all in the operating agreement. On the equity side, lending is laid out more another important documentation that you need. I'm going to move on though. I just wanted to get that into your consciousness real quick. I'll just remind you of that. So there's three sources of money. The one that's most obvious is cash, right? People have cash to either partner with someone, lend to them, or become an equity partner. They have money in their retirement accounts. Again, if they have money in their self-directed retirement accounts, they can really work with you within that, within that fund. They can either put that money into a long-term rental project. We've had people with our apartment building complexes that we've syndicated. They've put their self-directed IRA money into that type of project, or they can lend it, right? Again, same thing. They lend the money, agreed upon interest rate, et cetera. So they can either be equity partners or lenders, and it comes through their self-directed IRA. Again, huge opportunity there to work with people to help them invest their money in different different things beyond just the stock market. So third thing is equity in your home or equity in someone's home that they can potentially then invest with or invest with you. In a simple way, it's called a HELOC, home equity line of credit. It basically means that the amount of money that your property is worth is a lot more than the amount of money you owe on the property. Okay, so you work with a bank on that, et cetera. You could either do it with your own home and invest in your own deals, or it could be worked with where someone has that home equity line and they invest that money into your deal. Either or, again, all things that need to be obviously very careful, very protected, everything in writing, all those sort of things. But those are three sources of private money. Just again, remind you of that. So tip number 2, everyone knows people with money. Okay, everyone knows people with money. You do. And I want to get into your consciousness around where to find it. So 3 great tips. Number 1, people that used to work for a great company, usually a larger company that had a really strong retirement planning, retirement accounts. Maybe they matched money, or somebody may have put money in, but then they matched that amount of money, but that the people don't work there anymore. And they also usually worked for them, this great company, for more than 7 years. So they were established. They had a lot of time to potentially put that money into their 401ks, which then could get rolled into self-directed IRAs. So then that person, obviously the name of it's self-directed, they can kind of direct that money where they want it to go. Not just real estate. They can direct it in a lot of places, according obviously to those guidelines, but real estate's one of them. The other third tip is finding private money is, I can't tell you how great it is to work with people who have self-directed IRAs. You're like creating a win-win, giving them an alternative to invest in, and you are being able to fund your real estate deals. These folks are always hosting free workshop conferences. Start getting involved, because what's fascinating is when you start to get involved and you start to network, people that go to these events have money to lend, have money to invest. And you're somebody who's maybe looking for funding, again, could be a great partnership, great opportunity for you. Last thing I wanted to share with you on our video today, or my video today with you, is think about your inner circle. So many times people say, no, I don't know anyone with money. And they just don't realize, right, how many people are in their circle that might have that money. For example, there's a psychological term, somebody comes, friends talking to you and says, I bought the new white Nissan SUV, call it whatever you want it to. And you're like, that's funny. I've never actually saw that one before. I didn't even know Nissan had a new SUV, and I didn't know, it was out already, what kind of thing. And then you talk and you move on your day. And then the next day you're driving, right? And then you look and you see that car that your friend just told you they got. And then later in the day, you take another ride to go pick up your kids and you see that same car, the white SUV that's brand new. Again, did that mean all these white SUVs that are brand new type of models that appeared in your life the day after your friend told you about it? No, your awareness was piqued. So of course you're going to start to see it, because that is just the beauty of, that in our lives. So it's the same thing with this. If you start to think about, I know people with money, I'm just not seeing them right now. People are going to start to appear for you, not out of thin air, but because they're in your circle. So a few things I want you to think about when you're thinking about people who have money in your inner circle. Number 1, your neighborhood. And you're like, in your neighborhood, I'm not going to talk about this with my neighbors. You want to start talking about what you do in investing in real estate with everyone. Again, not salesy or pitchy or weird. Obviously if you're in like Target, you don't go up to people and start talking to people. That's weird, right? Most of the time. You're just in a conversation with someone and it comes up naturally, very, in flow. It's not like this weird thing that you're just talking to everyone about with what you do. You could start talking about what you do in a very natural way that does not seem pushy or weird. Okay. Is a finesse to it. But your neighborhood, your neighbors. Number 2, restaurants and stores. One of our biggest private lenders of our projects came from someone who owned a pizzeria right down the block of our office building. We went in there almost like weekly to get our, our lunch for the day. Me and my husband would be talking. He'd be like, what are you guys up to these days? And we would tell him what our projects look like, what we were doing. We just started to get into a relationship. And 6 months later, one day we went in there, got our slice of pizza. And he goes, you know what? Next project you got, tell me a little more about it. I might want to lend you money on that project. It wasn't like we were pitching this guy. We just kind of started a relationship, got into what we talked about, got into our projects, started sharing what we were up to. And look what happened. Coworkers. Obviously, you want to be careful there. You don't want to pitch your real estate side project to your coworkers because that's, not appropriate. But in terms of knowing your coworkers, getting into relationships, it's all about getting into a relationship with people, right? Being able to share what you're up to, what they're up to. And again, looking at opportunities to create win-wins. Number 4, volunteer groups. If you're active in a group, and again, all this is a little sometimes tougher in the age of COVID and not being able to see people as much, but still, you're still able to connect with people. And there's just maybe more online creative ways to do it. Okay. Social groups, whether it's something where people are part of a country club, those sort of things, or they're not part of a country club and they're just part of a local volleyball club. You never know who's part of these different groups. And we underestimate who we're always around. We just think people who have money are going to flash their money. Those aren't the people you want to work with. It's like the very hidden people that have money that are looking for investment opportunities. They're not going to just tell everybody that. Most people who have that, but they want to build relationships. They want to work with people they trust and like, and work with someone who's going to protect their money. Most importantly, other group is religious groups, church group, etc. I got into a conversation with somebody. We go to church again. What we do, those sort of things. And one day they came to us and said, you know what, your next deal, we'd love to partner with you. Again, you never know how powerful that might be. College, grad school, one of our first private equity partners came from, I reached out to someone I was very good friends with in grad school. And I said, hey, I'm going to be in the city. This was New York City many years ago for some training. I'd love to grab coffee. And he was someone we always had, interesting conversations, good networker. And we over lunch, we're chatting and talking. And he said, what are you up to now? I said, oh, my husband and I are buying rental property in Trenton and renovating them and what have you. And he goes, that's awesome. He goes, I would love to invest in real estate. I've always wanted to. I just don't have the time. And that is the most beautiful statement for someone who could be a private lender or a private equity partner. They want to invest in real estate. They like real estate. They don't have the time, but they have the money. That's where you come in because you have the time and the knowledge and all those sort of things. Okay. So again, never know. You just never know when you get into these conversations. Business networking. These could be like the BNI or the weekly networking like that, or meetups, those sort of things. Just start getting into conversation with people, what you do and what you're looking for, and people can help you. Okay. So often we think people are going to read our minds of what we're looking for or what we need in our worlds, but that's not the case. You got to start building relationships with quality people who know other quality people, and you start talking about what you're up to, how you can help them, etc. And then, by the way, this is what I'm looking for. If you know anyone, I'd love some introductions. You start sharing what you do in a very kind of easy and kind of in a way that flows. So I hope this was helpful. Everyone knows people with money. Again, my name is Liz. I'm one of the co-founders of this amazing company, the Derosa Group. Thank you for being on our journey here with us on our YouTube channel and everything we're up to. I'm also very involved in the Real Estate InvestHer community. We have a podcast, we have meetups, we have a Facebook community, and we have a membership. And we just released our first published book, The Only Woman in the Room. You can get that on Amazon, or you can go over to our website, therealestateinvesther.com, and check it out. So thanks so much for being with me here on this video. And I'm going to be doing more and more, videos here on our YouTube channel. And I'd love to hear in your comments, what did you get out of today's video? Thank you so much.